Hogwarts Legacy is the talk of the gaming world, and for good reason, guys. With 1.28 million viewers tuned in at launch, this single player game has skyrocketed to the top of Twitch, shattering the viewership record that was previously held by Cyberpunk 2077. But not everyone is happy, as you can tell right here. Wired, the publication Wired, is not. You can look at how much salt is in this right here. There's no magic in Hogwarts Legacy. Right off the top, this guy pulls no punches. This game is mid at best, and its real-world harms are impossible to ignore. So, yeah, there is a salty publication. We're going to talk about this review right now. So this review awarded the game a measly 1 out of 10. What? When you think of like all the worst games of all time, not many of them get scored a 1. Usually you see like 5s, 4s, somewhere around right there. When IGN and a couple of the other outlets out there give negative reviews, you never often see a flat out 1. This almost just seems like it's a review that's just completely dismissing the game as a whole. When you look at the Hogwarts Legacy gameplay mechanics, the open world, the graphics, everything as a whole, you could tell that somebody ranking it as a 1 is pushing a vendetta against it. I mean, this review that we're looking at right here has already been coming under fire. It's been accused of lacking journalistic integrity and being nothing more than a platform for political activism, which, surprise, surprise, guys, it is. It is. Because we're going to scroll down, we're going to take a look, and you're going to see just right here off the top, the Wired section says, "It helped me say goodbye to the setting for good." So, bon voyage, you're out of here. And Tired says, "The story is rooted in anti-Semitic tropes. The gameplay feels dated. The graphics feel like they're a couple generations behind. All the characters are one-dimensional. It doesn't stay true to the established lore. Every character feels like an off-brand version of the characters we know and love. There's no sense of place, no magic, no heart." No. Okay. That is just like salt after salt being piled on. Like, dude, lay off the sodium, all right? We don't need you having a heart attack on us, kind sir. Now, I have no clue what's going on here, but it seems like the reviewer in question didn't do their homework with this game. They just repeated basically what they've heard from the sassiest tweet on Twitter. You know, all these people, the pink-haired cancel culture mob that are just obsessed with canceling this game. So, who is this mysterious critic that wrote this game that is lacking journalistic integrity? Let's scroll up and see. There, Jana Gray. All right, so Jana Gray was the author of this title. So, just to get some highlights over here, she talks about the history of the Wizarding world and everything right here. But now she goes on this personal tangent. Like, literally none of this has anything to do with the game. Look, J.K. Rowling's pen wrote magic into my world, but now every word she puts out just hurts my heart. Every homophobic or transphobic thing queer kids hear growing up becomes a voice that follows them for a long time. We hear relatives, friends, and parents say awful things about us and to us. For a lot of us, we fight those voices every day. Okay, see, look. People come to this review to get a review of a game. They don't come to hear your soapbox. They don't come to hear you virtue signal. They don't come to hear you victimize yourself, all right? A video game review for a game is not the place to trauma dump. You know, I know, I get it. You've had a hard life, so has everybody else. Life sucks, all right? I'm not dismissing the fact that you probably have had struggles as a trans person, but let's be real here, all right? Your job as a journalist was to cover this game. and it looks like you are taking advantage of it to just essentially trauma dump and talk about all your stuff. Unforgivable curses. See, look at this. Like, it literally doesn't even. It literally just seems like she's telling her life story on here. There's a hole where this heart's, game's heart should be standing together. There's a direct correlation between how open Rowling becomes about her bigotry and how flat and heartless Wizarding World media becomes. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it's because LGBTQIA plus people and genuine allies are some of the best creative minds in the world, and these films and this game were made largely without them. The game industry is far queerer than most people realize. Like, look at all this. Like, just go and take a look at how ridiculous this review is. It literally has like nothing to do with the game if you're looking at this, other than her comparing, the real life situation with bigots and things like that. Like, it's the ones who didn't answer the emails from Portkey Games, the ones who politely let their coworkers know that working on a Harry Potter game would be harmful to the trans community. Like, dear God. Like, this woman, or I don't even know her pronouns, but I'm gonna say this reviewer just basically went off. And they're getting a lot of criticism right now. They're being called out for having no original thoughts, and they're just parroting what they hear about it. It's this echo chamber. Once you're woke, you get into that echo chamber. No more free thought. You're not allowed to think freely. And yeah, they've also clearly been criticized for actually not reviewing the game. They use the review as their soapbox, guys, for their own political review, like their views, their political views. And it's like, to give a 1 out of 10, that's a bit much. That makes it fucking obvious, all right? So you think about the reasons why somebody would give a game a bad score. Glitches, bad control, bad gameplay, bad plot, graphics look terrible. But no, this reviewer gave it a low score because they have issues with J.K. Rowling and J.K. Rowling's opinion. Or maybe they just had a bad day, took it out on the game. Let's always give people a bad, that have a bad day, benefit of a doubt. Either way, it's clear that this review was more about the reviewer's personal opinions than the actual game when you take a look at this article. So it did cast a spell of negativity on Metacritic. That nice Metacritic score now has a 1 score underneath it. So honestly, though, when you take a look at the Metacritic, I touched on it a while back. All the games, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, were like in the high 80s. So it's been generally, good reviews for it. Beyond, like, to the point where I think it's Game of the Year contender, where even bigger outlets are ranking it like higher. So I think when it comes to reviewing video games, and I know I'm not some official journalist that works for like IGN or anything like that. I'm just a chode in his room. I think it's important for professional reviewers to have journalistic integrity. These are consumer products, and people rely on reviews to help them make purchasing decisions. You gotta make people informed about whatever you're reviewing properly, whether it's a game, a movie, an album, you name it, right? Do people still review albums? I don't know. In the case of Hogwarts Legacy, though, it's clear that this Wired reviewer was a bit of an exception. They took it personal. And, despite the controversies surrounding this game with Rowling and all that, most of the review outlets, like I mentioned, have been surprisingly fair and generally positive with their assessment of this game, which I think leads, or gives testament to the hard work that the development team did this and how excited people are for this game. And you know what? It goes both ways, because as a consumer, we should be wise and take into consideration that the reviews we read, might have some kind of personal vendetta or opinion behind them. It's always good to seek out multiple perspectives on stuff, even stuff that you don't agree with, before making a purchasing decision. You might not always agree with what you read. You might be in support for it 110%, but you got to remember, you got to treat reviews like purchasing decisions. So as long as the reviews are honestly, and well researched, for the most part, I feel you can trust that they'll guide you in the right direction. But certain websites clearly have people that are more activists than actual gaming journalists. It's two different things, guys. So in the end, I think it's awesome to see how Hogwarts Legacy is being received at this time, with such positive responses from the gaming community. And whether you're a fan of Harry Potter, the Wizarding World, or you're just looking for a great single player game to play right now before Resident Evil 4 Remake comes out, I think this game is a must play. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one.